Going after 3. Welcome to the all-important Q&A. This is your host Fantasia, and today we have an exclusive interview with Luciano Lionheart. Welcome, Luciano, and thank you for being here with us today. It's great to have you back, looking so well.
Thank you so much. I do try.
First of all, let's talk about SL for you. Okay, you have been performing in here in SL for a while now, and pretty much sell out or pack sims every time. Apart from the obvious reason of your talent, what do you think your magic ingredient is?
Oh, wow. I remember when I was lucky enough to meet Tony Bennett a few years back, and I asked him what advice he could give me. And he said, be nervous before every show. It keeps you sharp. And back then I just thought, oh God, I'm in trouble, because I just didn't have that, because I feel so comfortable up there. In fact, being on a stage feels more natural to me than more or less anything else. So to me, it feels like that's where I was meant to be in a way. And after thinking about it for a few years, I've gotten to a point now where I believe that actually helps me to communicate with my audience in a real and genuine way. And if people don't believe you, they won't like you. So I hope that answers your question more or less.
It certainly does. I know in real life you have performed in some amazing venues too. Do you have any favorites?
Oh, so many favorites. The Majestic Theater on Broadway, where there's this deep gallery that makes the audience feel like a wall of people right in your face. I absolutely love playing there. And also the Berlin Jazz Club in New York, another favorite of mine and like a trademark venue for jazz singers. But I think the biggest wow experience I've had was when I toured in China a few years back, and we did these stadium concerts, and some of them with around 100,000 people in them. And there's honestly nothing in the world that's more of a rush than 100,000 people roaring around you. It's a very special experience.
I just couldn't do it. I would just like crumble.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. So you may have already answered this in the first couple of questions, but we're still going to like sort of explore it a little. If you could sing any song or genre of song, what would your favorite be?
I prefer songs with a story. That's like my starting point when I pick songs, and I'm far too musically schizophrenic, if that's a word, to stick to one genre. But I am more than anything a ballad singer, I believe, with a particular soft spot for jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Winter Tales concert. That was the first time I heard you sing here.
Yeah.
My favourite song that night was Nella Fantasia, obviously, for obvious reasons. Well. Can you recall your first concert here?
I do, actually. I did my very first show, I think, about 3 years ago now, at a lovely venue called Whispering Hearts Pavilion. And it so happens to be the very first venue that I'm going to be back at now on my calendar as a regular gig, now that I'm returning. And over the years, the owners, Shaylin and Cranston Yordstorm, has become great friends of mine as well. So I really think back with fond memories.
I have described your voice, as I've written a couple of articles about you previously, as being like slipping into a nice warm bath. It's very soothing, or having a really nice cup of hot chocolate. How would you describe your voice?
Well, I don't think I would even try to describe it. I'll just refer people to you from now on. Don't you think that's a better idea?
Could be,
no, but it's going to work out well for me. But no, I suppose my 4.5 octave range is what people keeps bringing up to me, and what I've had mentioned in countless reviews. So that's probably a characteristic that's central. Which I had nothing to do with. That's all nature, so I can't take credit for that.
Well, nature has been very kind. I wish nature could have given me more of a tuneful voice sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure it's not that bad.
Oh, no, trust me. It is. If you if you could give advice to anyone starting out a singing career, either within Second Life, because they might be shy, or
Mhm.
even in real life, what would it be? What would be your best advice?
Well, my main advice would be shameless and listen to your heroes, imitate them all. Then in time you'll be able to find your own voice and your own style. But don't be afraid to steal from the greats initially. They say the secret to creativity is knowing how to hide your sources. And I think that's a really really good way to put it, because you can't invent the wheel; it's already been invented. So listen to your heroes, and that's going to take you a long way.
You have already mentioned that you're going back to Whispering Hearts, but what are your plans in the next few months, either in SL or in real life too? Are you going to be back on the stage there too?
I am working towards it after some time where I've had to focus on totally different things. But I am, first of all, returning to the Second Life stage next week after what is now 6 months. So I really am looking forward to reconnecting with the people from really around the world who's attended and hopefully enjoyed my shows in the past here. So the first step is to get back on the Second Life stage, and in a few months, I'm sure I'll be back performing like I've done the last 10 years in real life as well.
I mean, there's no better way than Second Life of being able to reconnect with people across the entire world in one show as
It's
well
an
as it does. Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, if you could go listen to any other artist anywhere, either here or even in real life, who would you listen to?
Well, let's stay within the bounds of Second Life then, because if I go outside of that, I'm gonna keep going for an hour. But it's good to talk about Second Life because there are so many talented singers and musicians in there. It's really amazing, and I listened to many of them for years before deciding to try and contribute myself. And I could mention many here, like Sam Kendra, Nina Bing, Jay Sands, Savannah Rain, Dreama Summerwin, and the list goes on and on and on. But if I were to perhaps pick someone to recommend, my two absolute favorites are Zach Cale. Zach is just the most magnificent pianist and a great singer that I've known for years now, that really just touches my heart with his music. And also Miss Alley Cat, which still is fairly new to the scene, but she's really blowing up these days, pulling some amazing crowds. And my God, that voice of hers, you could heat your coffee on it, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with every single one you've mentioned. I've heard them all apart from Mr. Zach Kell, which I never managed to quite catch on my
Oh,
time
you have
zone.
to.
So when you were a child starting out, what were your dreams?
Well, from a very young age, I had one dream, one singular focus, even at the earliest age. I can really just remember wanting to do one thing and one thing only: sell insurance.
Sorry.
It could be auto, home, or life. Maybe fire, flood, or earthquake. I just wanted to make people feel safe, you know. But the insurance game didn't work out for me, and here we are. So I had to fall back on my plan B, which happened to be music. So no, I didn't really want to sell insurance, but I didn't also not have a plan to become a musician. I wanted to be a professional footballer, and I did quite well for a while. But then I messed up my knees at 16, and then I had to find something else to fill the hours or fill the gap with. And my father was a professional singer and musician his whole life, more or less up until recently. And it seemed like the logical thing to try, and I suppose it worked out well. Even though it's, of course, a big loss for Manchester United, who never got me as a goalkeeper.
No, of course, yeah. I mean, they've been suffering ever since. They really have.
They have.
They have.
I do feel bad for Man U.
I mean, I'm sure there would have been a great sort of auction to get you between Man U, Man City, even Liverpool, possibly.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
couldn't play for Liverpool. That's where I draw the line.
well, we all have our limits.
Yes,
If
we do.
if you could choose, okay, it's probably going off beat a little bit, but if you could
Yeah.
choose the era you were born in with the music that you sing, what would you choose?
The 60s, hands down, because the war was over, the world was really coming alive, and the music scene was just something else. And besides, I could wear suits all the time. So 60s, definitely.
Awesome. They say that if you were born if you can remember the 60s, you weren't there. And I think probably all of us here remember the 60s because we weren't there.
Yeah.
If you could sing a song that tells us about Luciano, the story of you, is there a song that could do that?
That's an easy one, actually. It would be Joan Mitchell's Both Sides Now. That's pretty much the song that I feel paints the picture of my life. And it's almost so personal to do that song for me that I almost never do it, actually. It's really special. So Both Sides Now, absolutely.
And this, I think, is probably our final question now.
Yeah.
What inspires you the most?
Listening to musicians I admire. I think that sometimes you have to watch somebody love something before you can love it yourself. It is as if they are showing you what's the word? Like they're showing you the way, and it's the same with inspiration for me. When you see it, it can be contagious. So I try to be around talented musicians and to soak up their inspiration, and it usually influences mine as well.
Well, all I can really say is thank you so much for spending
Pleasure
this
was all
time
mine.
with us today,
Thank you.
answering all my questions and not giving me too many bad jokes or I missed them, possibly. But this is the all-important Q&A and we're signing out. I'm your host, Fantasia, and thank you again, Luciano.
Thank you so much.
I was really, 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 really bored earlier, so I decided to watch the Real Housewives of Miami.
Oh, you would
Wow.
have to be really time safe for to do that. Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. It was it's like watching a comedy show.
Oh, this my real life manager. She loves those reality shows, and she always, when we're on tour in hotels and everything, she just lays in the hotel bed in between work and just and just watches stuff like that. But I would rather shoot myself in the head than watch the Real Housewives thing.
Oh, they're such bitches, though. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. Anyway.